the SOS ServerSave program features and benefits. So again, as Ken mentioned before, and as the previous slide showed, we are providing you with a tool for Exchange backup and granular recovery. We're also providing a bare metal image creator tool, which we call Image Creator. So this allows you to take a full image of a system volume. Online Backup and Recovery Manager is your tool for getting files off-site, so whether it's the image-based files, just your Exchange database, and also recovering that information from our SOS cloud. The Workstation Backup is just a tool that has a little heavier branding on it, and it's designed specifically for workstation backup. Being that, TechCrunch just reviewed a study that I believe came out from a firm out of Harvard, showed that about 60% of a business's data still resides on individual workstations, so laptops, desktops. As much as we try to centralize everything with terminal services and different policies that we put out, the user is always going to be the greatest point of exposure. So we need a user or an endpoint solution for that, and that's what we've given you with the workstation backup as well as the mobile backup that we discussed. Then we have the Premier Web Integration Package. Again, this is not just unique, or it's not simply unique, it is absolutely unique. We are the only company out there today that is providing a web integration package. We're going to ask that you give us a domain. You change the domain to our DNS, and then we install this web package for you, and it allows you to control web content, allows you to control account management services, so plugins to our APIs for that, and then content management system, billing integration, mass email. So if you wanted a way to mass email all of your customers, this is a very simple mailer that I'll show, where you just simply upload a CSV file with your distribution list, and you can divide this distribution list into different groups, and then you have reporting on the performance of that mail. So it's very nice for that initial contact as well as ongoing contact with your customers. So if you don't currently have a subscription for regular updates to your customer base, well, you're going to have a tool that's going to allow you to do that, and very simply. So this is all included by entering our program, and again, as Shaylin mentioned, there's no additional cost for any of these features or any of these packages. This is simply what we're doing is we designed this program with the idea that we want our partners to be able to go out there and disrupt the market with not only but the best end-to-end backup solution, and at ninja price points. I have a question from Adine. Sorry for mispronouncing that. The question is, the rebranded option is made by SOS only, or can be done by me, the partner? It's done in conjunction with you. So we have a partner delivery team that's dedicated to working with you to getting this rolled out. So we'll ask for logos, anything you'd like us to reference, and then we're going to build out the rebranding. So it's not something that you're going to take home and it's your weekend project. We're going to do it for you, and then you can request revisions on that branding. Any other questions on the program? All right, and moving right along, we have a competitive comparison here, and we've divided it into just the file and folder online backup, because that's what a majority of the market addresses today, so companies like Carbonite and Mozy. And we had to separate all of our services just so we can address this. This is a very common question. For years, Carbonite and Mozy were our main competitors, and we were always boasted as the best in backup. Since 2006, we've been PCMag Editor's Choice Award. We've now won it 4 times consecutively, so the last awarding was this last November, so we're very proud about that. And the first was actually with a version 1 beta program, so we came out the gate hot when we entered the U.S. market. We've always boasted higher security, better access, less limitations. We don't limit you of where you can back up data as far as map drives, network drives, etc. And like Kim was saying, it's always been our mantra to just kind of allow you to back up what you need to back up, regardless of what or where it is. Moving into today, we have a total business backup solution. We have the mobile to workstation to server backup capability. And now we're no longer really playing in the same sandbox as Carbonite and Mozy. We're moving up, and we've introduced a whole nother suite of competitors, most of which don't compete on the Carbonite and Mozy side of things. We were talking about the online backup. And actually, it's interesting because a few years ago, I would have never expected to see some of these companies next to us on a competitive list because we were just so different. We literally had partners partner with these companies and us simultaneously using our secure online backup, but then also taking advantage of the local bare metal image backup of Zenith, Neutronis, i365, also or now known as eVault. So we've moved into this market very aggressively, and we've seen a huge success in our existing partner base, ending the relationship they had with these companies and moving into our solution now that we provide everything. So it's been very exciting to see the growth of our company and the transformation of not only our competitive basis, but the training in our programs. So really exciting stuff this week, and really this whole month, is the release of ServerSave version 5.2. 5.2 is a huge release for us. It's not just a move from 5.0 to 5.2. It really deserves its own applause, its own web page, and we're going to be sending out a big update to all of our existing partners later on. But 5.2 is huge because we've increased the performance, both with backup and recovery, dramatically. It's not just a client-side release, it's also server-side software. It's also the hardware that we're based off of the whole service. So it's been a complete overhaul of what we've been doing, and a really exciting time for us to be able to start rolling out more and more updates to really enter a more powerful backup market to address those needs. Again, reiterating the point that Ken made, the service that we're now providing was typically something that you could only afford if you had at least 50 to 100 users and a serious IT budget. Now we're looking to a situation where we can provide ServerSave backup for companies of any size. So your small home offices, they're using just a Windows box as a server, they now have an end-to-end solution, whereas before they were pretty limited into managing some type of hard drive themselves, if anything at all. And so it's been a very exciting time to see how our adjustment in software service has really coincided with the adjustment of the market to the managed services, which allows you all to then take this and provide even more awesomeness to your customers. Any questions on the program or what you're getting? And just a quick screenshot of our most recent Editor's Choice Award from PC Mag. And those of you who have looked at different awards, PC Mag is a real serious deal. There are a lot of companies out there that are just kind of pay-for-award situations, but PC Mag really runs your software through the gauntlet, and it's something that we don't expect to get every year, and we're very happy about it every time we come through. And Ken runs through the office with the award like a schoolgirl every time it comes through. So it really is a big deal. It's not like some of those other blogosphere type sites. I think it'd be good to move into demo, and then we can come back to the competitive landscape, just to reiterate that point. So I'm going to load up a Server 2008 R2 VM, so we can show the ServerSave product in all of its glory. Any questions on what we have so far? It looks like we have a few.
So John Green's asking if we're supporting any non-Windows operating systems for ServerSave. John, we don't have any native clients for Linux or Unix at this point. We do for Mac. We're looking into whether or not we should port that, but the reason we're only looking into it is most of our partners will just set up an NFS share on the network or use Samba just to run the backups through a Windows box or through a Mac box. So using any sort of network sharing technology, you can expose that data and then run the backup from one sort of backup staging machine on the network, and that's our recommended deployment pattern. Is you nominate one server as the backup staging server and pull from other servers into that, and then backup from there to the cloud. So we obviously don't have any partners who are Linux only, because then they wouldn't be able to run our software. but most of our partners do have mixed stacks. So most of them have got some Windows and some Linux, and they'll set it up as I just described.
Okay, so I'm just logging into the ServerSave software client as this VM gets set up. Is everyone seeing this all right? Okay. So here we have the application view of the ServerSave executable. And again, ServerSave is a grouping of different applications. Again, your end-to-end solution. So we have the application view. We also have a use case view. So are you on a laptop or a PC, file server, application or database server. Then there's a support and manage tab. This will take us to our web portal for access to backup information so you can share files with people. Of course, limited to 500 megabytes per recovery. Other than that, you want to go to the software. And then also just help and support. And all these links are going to go right to your web integration package. So if I hit product site, this is going to come up to our launch some browser here. I'm going to explore. And it's going to launch the faux partner, Acme Online Backup. It's going to launch their web integration package. So here's the web integration package that we have with them, and we'll go through that in a little more detail. Boom, back to the application view. So we have 4 applications listed here. We have Online Backup and Recovery, which is 5.2, which we're really excited about. We have Exchange Granular Recovery, pretty self-explanatory, and Bare Metal Image Creator, again, used to create images. Well, the way that this system's arranged is that we do recommend setting up some type of staging machine for which you would put your image-based backups. So to show this, let's first start with Image Creator. So I launched Image Creator Wizard, and again I have some more tabs. I have a Windows Volume Manager, which really isn't necessary for the most part to come to. All the Windows volume management you need to do is done through the wizard, so that's very nice. Different backup jobs. So we have a scheduled backup job here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I want to be able to show you all the scheduling options when I get in there. Different destinations. Again, this is handled in the wizard as well. And backup history. This is a nice review, very clear English as far as what's happening. Oftentimes what you see is maybe your disk becomes full and you need to make some room for it. And then there's also different options you have for maintaining versions locally. So back to the wizard, let's first create a backup job. I select backup, hit next. Now it's asking me, okay, well, what volume would you like to create an image of? I have that view, or I have a little prettier view. So I will select for this demo just the Exchange drive, which is a whopping 5 gigabytes, but I think we get the point. Also, as most of you are familiar, we wouldn't want to grab the system reserve drive. If that's the case, it's a hidden drive, and this just isn't something you back up. In fact, it'd probably error out if you were to select that. But you have Exchange selected here. We could select multiple volumes if we wanted, but for the purposes of speed, in this demo, I'm just going to select the Exchange volume. I hit next. Now it's asking me where I want to put this backup. So again, this is a local backup or a local network backup that we're creating right now. So we would pick a network location and define this location. And this would typically be your staging server or staging machine or backup machine, whatever terminology you like to use. The idea behind a staging machine with our system is not that we want to sell you some proprietary hardware like a lot of other companies will. So Datto, Zenith, eVault, these companies often require $1,000, $2,000 hardware purchases just to start talking about what you want to start paying for your backup service. We're not a hardware company, and probably never will be, and we're all about software. So we don't pigeonhole you into a $2,000 box that you then have to try to at least make your money back on. You just put a black box together with whatever you want. Windows 7, load up with enough RAM and hard drive space to handle whatever you'd like to utilize that backup server for. For now, I'm just going to put it to this virtual drive F, which essentially would be the same thing as using just a NAS. So just simply for the sake of additional storage. So next, then it comes to our scheduler. So our scheduler has a very historical look and feel. Those of you who've been running tape backups for a while, you're going to be very familiar with this type of mentality. We have, when do you want to run your full backup, and then when do you want the incremental backups to run? Historically, you're limited to tape media or local media in backup, and you're also limited into recovery methods. Recovery limitations being, if I want to get to a point at Friday, I have to first recover my full backup from Sunday, and then in sequential order, I have to recover each incremental up until I get to my Friday restoration goal. Very time consuming. You certainly wouldn't run an incremental every 60 minutes, because that means you're going to have 11 different incrementals to manually and in sequential order recover to get back to some point. Well, the recovery we have today is intelligent. It's going to automatically create a recovery chain. All you have to do is tell it when you want to get to, and it'll do that for you. So that allows us to go into a continuous incremental stage. Continuous incremental then allows us to have a viable option for online backup, for image-based backup. As most of you are aware, you're thinking online backup for images. Sure, that's a 500 gig file. How long do you think I have to recover this type of information? Well, with this type of backup strategy, you only have to back up that full backup once. So let's say we have a 500 gigabyte file server, or Exchange server for that matter, whatever it is. We're going to compress it down to about 250. We can get that file off, and it may take some time. And you can see some speed stats on our website. We are, again, tested as the fastest backup in the world at this point. So we have the full backup once, and then you just run incrementals from that point on. So I would just schedule, okay, we're going to run a full backup this Sunday, or the first backup it runs will be full, and then I'm just going to run incrementals from that point on. So you may have 70, 100, 200 incremental files, but now you can run these incrementals off-site on a regular basis. A 200 gig file may take 200 to 300 hours to back up online, depending on your hardware locally, the bandwidth availability, and how long you can run this. So it really has a lot of variables. So this limits the amount of times we have to really make that initial push to our servers. So we're going to go ahead with the continuous incremental selection. And now we have some other options. So we have compression. Standard, typically about anywhere between 40 and 60%. Varies from server to server. So those of you with some dental clients, anyone heavy in medical industry, dental specific? For those of you in the dental industry, you've seen that with the recent EMR integrations, your dentists are snapping or x-rays of their patients like there's no tomorrow, and you may have a couple hundred gigs of just those x-ray files. Well, we want to make sure that we can compress those down so they don't take up as much space, but again, images don't compress that much. For the same, for HIPAA compliance, you do need to encrypt local backups. So we have an encryption method. So you say, okay, we're going to set a password, we're going to go to advanced, and then you can set the encryption level as well. So 128, RT4, AES, and then the 256-bit AES. Now, we are already encrypting your data locally at 256-bit AES. We're going to transfer the data over a 128-bit SSL, and then we're going to store the data at an additional 1024-bit AES. So we have encryption at every level, and again, commitment to security. So if you don't have HIPAA requirements, then this isn't truly necessary, but it is something that you can do. We have different commands, which is really nice. For those of you in financial industry as well as medical, you're going to come across older proprietary databases that just don't have a VSS writer in them, meaning we can't back them up while they're open. So you can put in some scripts so you can shut the database down before the snapshot is going to be made, so you don't essentially lose information in that snapshot, snap a transaction in half. So you would put a script in here to stop the database, put another script in here to restart the database, and then post backup, whatever you want to do, restart the machine, shut down the machine, etc. But it allows you to do this, and quite simply for those of you who are so inclined and familiar. Might be a little throwback to your batch file days. We also have options for splitting up an image into multiple pieces. This can be pretty helpful, especially if we have very large systems that we're backing up. The process that we have for backup, both in the security and in the transfer, are non-linear processes. So it will be faster for performance if we do chunk up the backups into smaller bits. So we can, say we want to put this into, 100 gigabyte image files for, let's say, those of you who have maybe a terabyte or a 2 terabyte server that you're going to take an image of. This will help you really put out the performance of this. And then you can move from then on with the incrementals. But this will help with the initial backup, certainly. So we hit next. Gives us a summary of what we're going to do. And then I can have the option to execute now or just to let it run as a schedule. I hit finish, and now it's going to be sitting here. Any questions on creating a backup job as we just went through it? All right, so now the next step, of course, we created the image-based backup. Let's go off-site with this information. So we're going to open our online backup and recovery agent. So here we are with the online backup and recovery agent. We have a backup option, a restore option, advanced options that you can go through. But let's just create a quick backup job to get that information off-site. So we go to set up online backup.